microphone's definitely on silent now. So
That's okay.
I did it on there.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am back here with my buddy Julian, my pro in real estate buddy. And
Thank you.
for this episode, we are going to talk about what it's like to be Julian and the shit that he has to deal with every day. And he's going to be talking a lot more than me, I think, on this one, because mostly I do my own projects that I just have full control over. I mostly use my real estate license for my own projects, but he is active. He's got a project management company. He's worked in commercial, and he does a lot of residential. So, Julian, tell me about that world and what's on your mind. This is a therapy session for Julian, by the way. So
Yeah, because shit is exactly right. Like, I am the guy that sells shit, and very quickly becoming known as the person who deals with distress. And I got brought into this property in January of 2025, and it was introduced by my neighbor. She actually dated one of the clients of this family, and she warned me getting into this deal. She just said, Julian, this whole family, dumb as doorknobs. You just have to be aware of that. Look at what you're getting into. Bless their hearts, great people, but just dumb as doorknobs. And I was like, understand, I can deal with that. I didn't realize how bad
not
the
everybody's
situation was.
really understands real estate. There's so many layers and levels of what goes on in real estate.
Right. And theirs was more like just life in general.
Yeah.
Just like not they.
Well, and that's
they
the other thing
didn't-
too, is it becomes personal, right?
It does.
Whether it's your financial situation or a death in the family or stress, anxiety, everything that humans deal with on a regular basis gets sucked into not just this algorithm of this is real estate, here's the numbers, this is how it calculates. There's a lot of emotion and things that go into it.
Oh my gosh. And all of that rolls up into this one project. And so I go out and I meet this family. And basically what happened was the mother had passed away in February of 2024.
Wait, stop real quick.
Yeah. Just making sure it's recording.
Okay, yeah, no, it's still, I just wanted to make sure that the Roadcaster was still on auto. And
Okay,
because sometimes when I hit stop on Riverside, it'll take the auto off of there, but it's still on.
Yeah, no worries. I remember you had to check that last time too.
Okay, so.
Yeah. So,
And continue.
So the story here was basically the mother of this family had passed away in February of 2024, and 3 brothers inherited it. The ones that my neighbor
That's
introduced me
always
to.
an issue.
Oh,
the
yeah.
multi-family inheritance, right?
Correct. And these sons, again, bless their hearts, but they were very much deadbeats. And they had been taken care of so much by their mother their whole lives. They didn't even realize there's a mortgage to pay when you own property.
Yeah, what's a mortgage? They don't teach that in school.
The
That's
concept of a mortgage,
Yeah.
the concept of property taxes,
Yeah.
utilities.
Yeah.
These are the
Liabilities.
costs of that's right. Which I stopped for them, thankfully. But these are grown adult responsibilities,
Right.
and none of them were bearing those, except for one brother. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. So the one brother that was responsible, he was essentially named the executor of this the living trust. So she was smart enough to form a living trust to try to talk about the transfer of the properties and all that stuff.
That's a whole nother thing.
It
Probate
is.
and everything.
It
It's
is.
nasty.
Well,
Yeah.
probate is very much involved on this one. So she did the right thing by forming the trust. What she did not do was there's 3 properties that she owned, and she had intended to give all 3 properties and distribute them accordingly to the brothers. Now, she correctly put one of the properties under the trust. The other 2 she did not. And so I find that out. First thing I do is I've got contacts at Title. I reach out to my First American Title escrow company. I say, can you give me the prelims for these so I can uncover everything that there is on these properties? First and foremost, the debt. I want to know who the lenders are. And come to find out, 2 issues. So 2 properties are not on title, correctly under title. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take that through probate. We'll check that as an action item. Number two, there's not one lender, but two lenders on the properties. And so it's like two lenders, two mortgages. It's like, okay, great. So it's like, I'm going to have to find out who the senior lender is, the first mortgage, but there's second lender. I'm going to also have to find out their contact information too, just to make sure that the loans and the mortgages are being paid. Well, come to find out they're not. So I find that out and I pick up the phone, finally get a hold of the second lender first, actually. It was a private lender comprising, like, they basically go to six very like high net worth individuals and let people borrow their money. And it was like an interest only program. So there wasn't any principal being paid down. It was just like, for a year. And so what the mom did for the kids was she prepaid 1 year's worth of interest. And again, she passed away in February 2024. So I get involved in this thing a year later, January 2025.
As it's all expiring, right?
Exactly, as things are unraveling. And so
Right.
they're getting letters to the house now, and they're like, what are these things, right? Because these brothers don't know. And that's when I'm like, every letter you get, send it to me. And so that's when I start to find out, like, oh, snap, the first loan isn't being paid. The mortgage isn't being paid on. Like, who's been paying that? I don't know. Brothers don't know.
Somebody.
So, yeah, that's right. It's not me. I think Joe's supposed to be paying that, right?
Yeah.
They're all just like pointing fingers and like,
Right.
he should be paying that. And so, so come to find out, the first loan is in default. And then by the time I get a hold of the second lender, he's like, yeah, my interest payments are running out too. Like, she prepaid a bunch of it, but that expires in April of 2025. I said, ooh, okay. Well, I'll make sure to get you all squared away by April 2025. Well, we're in October now. And so there's a lot of things that led up to that event. So
now you're acting as their consultant lawyer. You're taking on all these,
all of the above. And so then I'm the guy. And I was like, first things first, let me just sign a very typical listing agreement with you guys. It just says I'm your broker, right? And I'm just in that listing agreement, I'll just say I'm also here to help you figure out the loan situation. So I get really and the problem with the first lender is it's a big syndicated bank type of situation. They only have a call center. You cannot get through to an actual representative who, like, a dedicated relationship manager.
Yeah. We deal with that with everything. I feel like
it's a nightmare. It's like it's almost like a CMBS, like commercial mortgage-backed security, like where it gets divvied up, and then so you can't get a hold of one person. And that's what happened. Human. Yeah, exactly. And I would get them, but at this point, I've talked to at least 40 different representatives because I can't get the same freaking person on the phone.
Right.
So I've had to tell them, like, hey, we fully intend to pay off this loan. Let us take it through probate so I can list them properly and get them sold. Right. Because like one of the things I had to do very early on is tell the brothers, you guys cannot own these things. If you guys can't make the mortgage payments, you guys cannot qualify for a new loan. You guys are not allowed to own property. Guys, everybody get on the same page in there? Sure. And so then I finally get their blessing to even do that. So then I'm trying every day to keep the lenders from foreclosing, right? It's like they're fully within their rights because they're not
time.
Exactly. Yeah. So every 3 days, because they're on a call center, automatically I would get pinged. Like, a lot of my phone rings were just their automatic system calling me after I made myself the designated contact, just like, you're in default. Do you know that? Like, do you like, and all this stuff, like, what do you plan to do about it? Yeah. And so, that's all it was. And so
I didn't sign up for this. Well, actually I did.
Yeah. I volunteered my contact information for this call center, which is the most like ridiculous thing. And so I'd get pinged every 3 days and I would just give them the same spiel. We're taking it through probate. Please add that to your log. I told the last rep, I'm telling you, just we're doing it. I swear. Like, I don't know what you want me to do other than I could supply them court documents to show that we are undertaking this process. At the same time, I go ahead and I source a probate attorney, one of the top probate, like, estate attorney firms in West LA. Expensive firm. But, the thing is with probate, they get paid through the sale. So you don't have to worry about the bills during that time. So I was okay using an expensive firm.
Right, it's taken out,
Yeah, and so everything's going well. But then all of a sudden, we get a reach out from one of the brothers' attorneys. We're like, why does this brother have an attorney? And so he starts driving up the bill because then what happens is this probate attorney says, well, these are extracurricular activities. This is not part of the probate bill. If you want us to respond to this litigation attorney with his questions, that's a separate bill. So we start racking up a bill with this very expensive law firm. And she tells us, you know what? I'm not your gal. because if you want us to, you're going to rack up a crazy bill, and I can recommend you to a different attorney. So we had to pause our probate process, switch attorneys, which was another whole mess, cost us another month. And so we switched to a cheaper attorney.
I'm already getting stressed
this
out.
is, I'm telling you, this is like all the while I'm keeping out of the properties out of foreclosure. And so let me jump ahead because there's plenty of war stories just on that front. Then I'm like, okay, we finally get through the probate process and we're in a position where we can sell now. And so it's like, all right, time to put my property manager hat on. Let me go check out the properties and like talk to the tenants. So I go to the properties and I start talking to the tenants. And the first person I talk to, she's like, oh, she's the worst one. She's the pain in the ass. She has all these demands. I come to find out she doesn't have a kitchen. There's no kitchen in her place. And I was like, what's the story about that?
It's not legal, right?
It's not legal.
You have to have heat.
You have to have heat. You have to have a kitchen, bathroom.
Yes.
Well, yeah. The basic necessities of, something habitable.
Yeah.
That's all required.
Right.
So I'm like, oh,
It was obviously
shit. bootlegged
or whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, shit, what did I get myself into?
How do you not have a kitchen in a house?
They had a water leak and water intrusion. So to repair the water intrusion, they filed an insurance claim. Insurance gave them a check to pay for it. Well, that involved ripping up the old kitchen, and somehow
they just took the money and didn't spend it on the new kitchen.
I do not know to this day what happened to that insurance check. It went somewhere. One of the brothers took it. I don't fucking know. And so she's living there without this kitchen. So she's like, yeah, Julian, I've been trying to get this kitchen built. But the family has no money, right? They can't even make mortgage payments. So they're mismanaging the money, and she wants this kitchen. She already got a quote, and the family's like, I disagree with that quote. It's like $6,000 to rebuild the kitchen. They're like, we don't have $6,000. We will go there and repair it ourselves. Like, we're all handyman, so they thought. And she's like, no, absolutely not. I want a licensed contractor. So you basically have this stalemate where she wants this kitchen built, and it's not legal. And so I'm like, shit, now what did I get myself into? Because now you got a potential liability.
You do have a right to build as owner, but, obviously the tenant has tenant rights. And
she does. If she wants to demand a licensed contractor, she can.
Exactly.
Yeah, but nobody had the $6,000 to come up with to build it for her. So she was basically like, yeah, so I'm just not paying rent. You don't have me. I don't have a kitchen. I'm not paying rent.
She's fair in that.
She absolutely is. Like, as long as you're not suing the family, I'll take that as a compromise.
You can
That's
stop
very
payment
fair.
if something that creates the space habitable is not being taken care of. You're allowed to stop paying rent.
Exactly. And another surprise she springs on me is that, by the way, I have a 5-year lease here. The mom signed a 5-year lease with me. It doesn't expire till 2028.
Forgot about that.
Shit. Yeah, I was like, how am I supposed to sell this with her inside, right? In this whole situation.
And leases go with the land, so when you list it,
it transferred on.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that the mom had passed away. She still has vested rights. She's allowed to honor. They have to honor that lease. Then I go to the middle unit. They're been there 14 years on a month-to-month, and they're like, "Oh, Julian, we have this really bad mold issue in the back of the kitchen that we've been asking
mold.
for."
I've got not so much myself, but friends that have bought homes. Yeah,
It's
and mold
bad.
is nasty.
It's nasty,
man.
and it wasn't like light mold. So they show me, they open, they're like, "Oh, we got mosquitoes here pretty regularly that we're fighting off every day." I'm like, shit. So we haven't been able to use this kitchen, and they open it up, and I like
cockroaches are next, and then.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Okay,
so
sorry.
then
we'll
no
do
worries.
We'll do a whole thing on pest stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I go into this thing and we open up the kitchen cabinet and it's fucking black mold. It's like staring into
it's been
the
sitting
abyss.
there. They've been breeding that stuff for a long time.
Absolutely, and they've got 3 kids in there,
Oh,
and
God.
I'm staring into space. It's like
It's like
deep
a lawsuit
space.
there.
Another potential liability, And so I'm like, holy shit, this is not a small fix. And I was like, okay, thanks for making me aware. They're like, oh yeah, and by the way, we've had rodent infestations. We opened up this wall heater, which doesn't work. No heat, right? Not allowed. And it was filled with dead mice one time. I was like, disgusting. And then I walk into their bathroom and just mold all over the ceiling. I was like, okay, so you got an issue here. That's unit number in the middle.
Wow.
Then I walk into the back unit.
Sounds like a tear down to me.
Yeah, it's a heavy reno. Right now.
Yeah.
And and then I walk into the back unit, and she has been there for 20 years, disabled elderly lady on Section 8. And then I was like, all right, I got to sell this. And I was like, I'm in it. I got to do it, And who's gonna do it but me? I think I'm that guy, and so I'm him, And so
you had a conscious decision. You're like, I'm taking this on.
I am, And at the time, it wasn't costing me anything. Now it is. I'll get into that. And so you know, and that was just one of the properties. So that's a triplex. The duplex is adjacent to it. It's a different lot, but it's this similar dynamic. And I got this guy living in the ex garage space, unpermitted garage space that they converted, added a bathroom. I still haven't seen the inside of the unit. I'm too scared to go in. And the guy's been nice enough to, like, we talk outside his place, but I was like, I don't really need to see your place. He is totally cooperating. Like, he's gonna leave and all this stuff. But
dude, there was a place in, sorry to interrupt you,
yeah,
but
no worries.
when I bought a house in Bend, Oregon that I remodeled, it was a bunch of dudes, like snowboarder guys, living off super cheap rent. And not that being a snowboarder makes it cheap.
That's right.
I'm a snowboarder. So. But no, it was interesting because they had this dude that was living in the garage, but it was like an attic space, basically. It had a ladder, and it was literally just like this little kind of A-frame attic cube. Small, like probably like 150 square feet or maybe. And dude, after they left and I got in there was like satanic graffiti spray painted all on the walls. There were animal bones we found. I don't know what from, but
that's creepy as hell.
And this guy was just living up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right, anyway. I think you just went up to me on that one.
So continue,
dude. Satanic rituals. Shit.
I don't know what they were doing. My contractor, he's a good friend of mine up there in Oregon. His guys were like, okay, who's cleaning this?
Yeah, bones. I think that's where I draw the line, dude. Like, you know what? This is a lost cause.
Oh, just like in alcohol, just beer bottles everywhere and liquor bottles and like just weird. Just this dude was like basically like a homeless person living in these. I don't know how they knew this guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yikes.
Continue.
Holy shit. And
we ended up ripping it all out and spray painting it all white. And,
yeah. But I hear you. It's just like, you know what? I'd rather not know. Like, I'd rather not even. I just don't. Just somebody fix it, not me.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to be in there.
No,
I don't need to know.
I like doing my own handiwork, but that's where I'm like,
there's a line you don't cross. Yeah. We all have our limits, man. That would do it. And so then I come to find that out, right? So I have to deal with that, and then like the court approves my sale process, thank God. And but I list it and I start taking people through these properties, and they're like, oh shit, this is worse than we thought.
Yeah.
I had 10 offers and 2 stuck, and I ended up actually having to, like, I was like, look, I'm gonna be the guy to vacate these units. The family's not gonna do it. They're not gonna know how. I have to do it. And if I'm gonna bend over backwards, I'd rather go to like my qualified developer contacts to say, hey, there's a good opportunity here. I underwrote it. I put the numbers together, and I said, at this point, the family is willing to take the discount because they understand that's the true worth of these properties. Somebody's going to have to come in here and spend some good money to get them up to speed.
Mess.
Yeah. Got this mold issue.
Here's an easy way out.
Yeah. And they're like, fuck it. We want to be done. Because one of the responsible brother is like, I'm tired of these 2 brothers. One of them's living on the property, by the way, in one of the units I mentioned. And again, he's not paying mortgage. He's not paying the utility bills.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm done giving my brothers a free ride. Like, I'm the one being responsible and taking the rent money and putting it toward the utilities. I'm not going to subsidize their lifestyle anymore. So I'm sick of them selling.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if I'm going to sell them at a discount, this basis is really good for someone who does want to figure it out. So I bring it to my developer friends. They're like, we're interested. And so the interesting part is it's now become kind of, because I offer all these services. So now I'm going to make the brokerage commission on the sale of the properties. I'm going to be retained as the project manager to help him manage and supervise the renovations and get the permits and all that stuff. And then I am also going to help him property manage it when I get all the units renovated and get the market rents up. Right. So it's because I offer all those services. I've now turned it into I've turned it into a residual long-term income. And then it's worth it, doing all this shit, and it'll become worth it over like the life of just the renovations. It becomes, like $100K that just from these 2 of the properties. Yeah. There's a third one I didn't even mention either. Yeah. But yeah. So, I mean, that's, and then, so.
But you deserve that. I mean.
I do. Yeah. And I'll be honest.
A lot of work and a lot of calculating and a lot of your own risk, and just dealing with these people and these different personalities and it's
what's crazy? I still,
how do you put a value on that? A lot of realtors they get a listing, especially around here. I mean the median home price here is over $2 million. And it's like, here, and then especially like a year ago, houses were just flying off the shelves. I mean, it's kind of stabilized now, but like people were getting crazy money, and a lot of the realtors were just kind of showing up. You do an open house, boom, you got 10 offers, and you make your commission in 3 weeks. Once you're in escrow in 3 weeks,
That's right.
And you don't do any of that stuff.
That's right. And I'm doing all this, by the way, Justin, for like a discounted commission.
Yeah, well,
that's the crazy thing. Like, I'm still doing that, just because
Yep.
like I'm a relationship guy, and
Yep.
I am here to kind of do it different. And the difference here is like it's just me. There's no
Yeah.
overhead. Like it's
Right.
more than enough for me.
Right.
I'll take it. Like
Right.
a couple of these going on. But and it's funny. I was telling the same story to an architect that I'm working with to rebuild a different client's home in the Palisades, and because of this story, she was like, "Oh, Julian, I got another one for you. You want some complicated shit?" So she refers me to a new client, and I get a new client out of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just because it's like I'm the guy that's willing to do this shit.
Well, real estate, I mean, it's a referral business, right? It's just, people make, I mean, I've done referrals. Like it's one of these things where, some people don't know anything about real estate, right? And they're just like, do you know anyone? Or, and you can make a living off just doing referrals, and, but by what your process is, and, when we first met, how you explained, that you were offering like, friends and from your USC background, and you had a nice network to kind of build on the people that were buying homes and things. You said, look, I'll give you this, and you don't even need to do anything. Just get me somebody,
Exactly.
And you could have made more money on the sale, but you're rolling it and you're investing in a long-term career in this industry.
Correct.
Because if you come in hot and all you want to do is greed and make money, it's not as sustainable as you're not going to get the
short-sighted
same referral rollback.
Correct. The only reason this momentum built is because I was doing these discounted commissions for all my friends.
Right.
They kept referring me to friends because they're like, dude, not only is Julian only charging half, he's adding twice the value. I'm doing this crazy shit, going above and beyond, because I just know no other way. Like,
well, you're becoming a standout, out of this the whole circus,
typical like realtor
world
base, right? And that's why like you and I gravitated toward each other too. It's like I met you in the very same way. It was like, again, when just like the property management side, that's when we bumped into each other. And that's the cool thing, right? Like, because this business is all about relationships. And if I prioritize the relationship, like the money always comes, and I never like try to gouge or ask for the money like early on. Somehow it finds its way and it monetizes somehow down the line. Right. It could be a relationship I fostered like through the years, and then like I don't even monetize it until like 3 years.
Well, and that's the mindset, and it can be in a lot of different businesses, but especially in real estate because it's highly competitive to be a realtor. There's a lot of realtors, and you have to build your brand. You have to have some sort of network of relationships and referrals that will bring that in. Like you said, it's going to come. You have a basis enough to where you're doing well and you're investing in the future. You're not living in the moment on like, I need to just make a quick bunch of money. And I'm building and structuring out this entire lifelong until I want to retire world. And then even then you can sell your book of business to people or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and or train someone, and you're building your little empire, right? And, but you're doing it in such a fair manner where you're a very to the point. You understand, like you said, you were running 3 roles, right? As the agent, as the property manager, and as a consultant to manage their issues.
Correct.
So you're providing a layered service beyond just
one and done. Right?
Yeah,
one transaction and I'm
showing
done.
a house and dealing with offers that come in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I sometimes ask myself, I don't know why more realtors don't take on more roles.
Because they don't want the
I guess
work.
not. Yeah, I'm just like, damn. Because like if you just, I was like, man, do you realize if you just property manage, like you basically like double end.
Yeah.
It's like the property management leads to brokerage, the brokerage leads to property management. And it's like if you take on both, it's like you can actually,
And we will definitely do. I think that could be a good topic for the next podcast. Is kind of like property management If you are a realtor out there following this, and just kind of getting your feet on the ground, or maybe you're already established and didn't realize, that you can layer this in.
You can, yeah, because the license gives you have to have a license to do both. So then if you offer both, it's the only reason I could do what I'm doing with the tenants right now in this terms of this eviction process, because I property manage. I know I've done it before, so I knew how to get it out. Yeah.
And the experience.
That's
okay,
right.
good.
Yeah.
Well, so I think that can wrap up Julian's first story. I know he's got many more. This one is very current, and we wanted to kind of have some of these topics when we do future podcasts about, what it's like to be in the field and juggle all these things that Julian does. And then I'll have more updates on my custom home. That's going to be fun to follow. And some of my past experiences with Airbnbs and rentals and all that good stuff. So,
and I appreciate you. I'm very grateful that you let me vent today.
Oh, come on.
I needed that.
Yeah. No, it's great, man.
Therapeutic.
It's not, it's work,
Yeah.
And it's people's lives, right?
That is.
And you're not just dealing with reselling a used car. This is a roof over people's heads. It's their life. It's renters' rights. It's just, land ownership. It's all this stuff. And there's a lot, and it's, most people's biggest purchase or just necessity in life.
I'm glad you bring that up on the kind of the closing statement, because like we always have to remember it's people's livelihoods at stake, and we're talking about people's shelter.
Yeah.
Like
whether they're good or bad, it's still
exactly on either side. Of me getting tenants out of their shelter.
Yeah.
Is you still have to. It tugs at your heartstrings.
Sure,
you gotta empathize. Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Good shit.
Really good one, man. That was probably another 30 on that one. Maybe.
Probably, huh?